Hello and welcome to another episode of Shoulders Above the Rest Radio. I am your host, Brendan, and today I'm going to talk to you about why heavy days are so important for training and why you should do them. On a piece of paper, heavy days usually don't look that exciting, so I'm going to reference what we have for tomorrow at Big Shoulders CrossFit, which is strict press, 5 sets of 5. Let me just double check that. Wow. I know it's 5 strict presses, but tomorrow, heavy day, strict press, 5 sets for load, 5 strict press. So, what the objective of a heavy day is, and I heard something recently that I really liked, and that was referring to these days as heavy days rather than strength days. Because the truth is, almost every day of a CrossFit class in some capacity is building strength. Even today, which is 4 rounds of 800-meter run with a 2-minute rest in between, you're building leg strength when you do that. If you're pushing the pace on your run, like if you're just slowly jogging, maybe not, but if you're actually trying to run fast and push your peak, you're going to be building some leg strength with that. So heavy days, it's not just a strength day. The point of it is to increase our ceiling. So there's 2 main types of strength that I refer to when I'm talking about this, and we've got absolute strength, which is sort of your top end, how much you can lift for like a 1 rep max or a 5 rep max or something like that. And then there's strength endurance, which is your ability to continually move a load for throughout the course of like a Metcon or something. So your absolute strength, your top end strength, that's what we train on a heavy day. We are trying to go as heavy as we can. We're trying to push to our limits the amount of weight we can move for a set of 1, 3, 5, whatever it may be. And for the untrained, heavy days can seem kind of pointless. Like, why am I doing this? I'm not going to be drenched in sweat. The other part of it that's really difficult for people to get into early on, especially if you haven't done much strength training, is the amount of rest that you're supposed to take in between each set. So a set of 5, it'll get your heart rate up. Strict press, maybe less so than other things. However, you need to rest probably at a minimum 2 to 3 minutes, depending on how much weight you're using. But the heavier you get, the closer you get to your max, the longer you should rest. Now, obviously, there's a point of diminished returns where, if you're resting 10 to 15 minutes between sets, that's too much. But the gold standard is around 3 to 5 minutes in between sets to maximize the load moved for a set. So after you do your set of 5, if you add weight, especially for the strict press, if you add weight and jump right into your next set after 30 seconds or a minute even, you're gonna limit how much you can move, and you've switched now from testing or working that absolute strength to making this more of a strength endurance type of workout where it's more like a Metcon, go type of thing. And that's not what we're trying to do. So the reason increasing your ceiling helps is when it does come to weights in a Metcon. So let's say there's a push press or push jerk or strict press even, or handstand push-ups, things like that. By increasing your ceiling, you are then going to be able to get more reps in less time or increase your power output on some of these general Metcons. And it can transfer over to your handstand push-ups and stuff like that. So the benefit of these heavy days and taking this really long break in between, or it seems like a really long break in between your sets to maximize how much weight you can lift, is really carrying over to your actual Metcons. It'll increase how much weight you can use in a Metcon. So if you're someone who usually uses, so at Big Shoulders, if anyone is watching this who doesn't go there, we've got our RX option, an intermediate option, and then a beginner option. And the weights usually get less. Sometimes the intermediate is just fewer reps at the same weight or the same movement, but generally it's a lighter option. So if you're someone who is usually in the beginner or the intermediate tier, which there's nothing wrong with that, but if your goal is to increase your weight that you can handle in Metcons, then you need these heavy days to increase that ceiling. Now, there was a period of time early on in CrossFit, or in my CrossFit world, life, whatever, that there was this whole mindset of, well, just get as strong as you can so that when you do a Metcon, you can just bang out the reps. It doesn't matter what the load is, it's super light. And in theory, that works, but if you're not also doing these strength endurance regular Metcons to train that metabolic pathway, that feeling, like there's that mental aspect of, oh my gosh, this feels heavy. I'm not used to doing this while I'm out of breath. So this is saying, all right, someone who's only training heavy, only doing these, short reps, multiple sets, but big breaks in between. And their whole idea is, all right, I'm just going to get as strong as I can so that when that weight or a lighter weight shows up in a Metcon, it feels so easy. It'll be a piece of cake. And you have to have both. Because if you only do strength endurance, you're never, I shouldn't say never, but you're less likely to increase your ceiling, which means you will always kind of be in that same spot. And on the flip side, if you only do heavy days, you're not going to train that strength endurance. So mentally and physiologically, your body won't be as prepared to handle weight while in this aerobic state where you're needing to keep moving. You can't just keep taking breaks. So that's this blend that CrossFit provides. Is there's workouts where, it's lighter weight, high repetition, medium weight, medium repetition, heavy weight, low repetition. And by blending all those in, you're kind of getting the best of both worlds. And actually, research has shown that all three of those methods, and in fact, a combination of all those methods, is the best way to build muscle. So as long as you're eating in a way that will help your body build muscle, if you are doing CrossFit, you can, in fact, build strength and build muscle over time. Is it as dedicated and dialed in as approach as bodybuilding? No. So your muscles will not get as big as a bodybuilder. Is it as dedicated and dialed in as a strength approach, as a powerlifter or a weightlifter? No. So you won't be quite as strong as those people. Now, top-end CrossFitters, I would say they could be competitive in some levels of Olympic weightlifting. Obviously not quite to the Olympics. Oh, well, I guess Tia-Clair Toomey, technically, she lifted in the Olympics for Australia in 2016. She actually finished the games, and then like a week or 2 weeks or something like that later, went and competed in weightlifting in the Olympics. Now, she didn't come close to podiuming. Ugh, that's a hard word for me. She didn't come close to being in the top tier. We'll just make that easy for herself at the Olympics, but she is, and she does have a little bit more of a background in weightlifting as well. She's kind of like Matt Frazier in that sense. So anyways, point being, you can get strong doing CrossFit. You can build muscle doing CrossFit. You are never going to be the same as those specialized fields, but that's kind of the point of CrossFit. You can still run, you can still jump, you can still swim, you can bike, you can do these movements in a Metcon, you can do them by themselves. Like there is this total blend of athleticism that comes with CrossFit versus being a specialist and just having elite abilities at that one aspect or one sport. So getting back to the main point of this, heavy days. So I hope that gives you a idea of why heavy days are important. And with this new programming that we're doing, if you didn't already know, we're on the CrossFit affiliate programming track, which I really have enjoyed. I like it. It's true CrossFit programming, which means there's going to be these days of just strength, or I should say just going heavy, just running, things like that, because that is still part of CrossFit. CrossFit isn't just 2 to 3 movement Metcons. Yes, those are like the bread and butter, but CrossFit is still just a workout where you're only running or only lifting heavy, because those matter. You are increasing your ceiling, your capacity in those areas, so that in a Metcon you can continue to increase as well. And if you're only training in a Metcon, you're going to limit your progress. So that is what we've got for today. I'm going to cut myself off there. Hopefully that made sense. If you have questions or other topics you would like me to cover, let me know. I'm going to sign off on that. Have a great day. Don't forget, be shoulders above the rest, and talk to you next time.